Are we rolling? We're good?
We are rolling.
All right, we're live.
Live.
Thank you for joining us, everybody. This is Archetype Aperture. I am Jim, and I am super excited. Tonight, I've got a guest, a special guest, Jacksonville's very own supermodel, Mr. Kameren Lott. Before we get going, well, let's introduce him. Go ahead and pop him on the screen so everybody can see, so he can say hi.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kameren. So glad to be here. So happy and excited.
I'm excited, too. And I just want to let everybody know what this podcast is for, why I started it, and what I'm trying to do with it. Archetype Aperture is a labor of love. I started it about 3 to 4 years ago, and normally it's just me. Normally I just do my little thing in here, and I just talk, and I talk about tips and tricks for like photography for beginners and intermediate photographers, because I really don't think I'm going to teach any pros anything. Not like you can.
Right.
What it's kind of morphing into is with all of these lives that I've been doing and guests that I've been having on, is I'm trying to kind of close the gap between photographers, models, brand managers, anybody that is in the creative field. So that is why I'm having a myriad of guests on, and we're going to get into how I met all these people, and I just really want to get to know Kameren, so I'm going to stop talking to you, and I'm going to start talking to you. So, Kameren, you and I met at a place. I'm not going to say the place right now because they know. I give them a lot of airtime. I talk about it a lot. We'll probably throw it in a little bit.
Absolutely.
But we met and I didn't have a real good chance to sit and talk with you.
No, you didn't.
But now I'm in my element. So like I got you in my lair. So now I can pick your brain. When there's a bunch of people around, I do get a little I go into my turtle shell a little bit.
Same.
Yeah, and it's a little bit much sometimes. So I kind of just I focus on doing the work, this photography, taking photos, video, what have you. But now I get to ask you all the questions that I would normally would have been able to ask you. Let's go into, tell me about yourself. Like, where are you? Are you from Jacksonville originally? Or are you from out of state?
Yeah, so I am originally from Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, okay.
I moved here just over a year and a half ago. So I'm reaching my 2-year mark here in Jacksonville, Florida. Absolutely love it. And I've only been signed as a model for just 6 months.
Wow.
So it's something I've always wanted to do. I aspired as a child to do it. And, I kind of spoke it into like existence. Like, I remember just having conversations with my older sister and just like, my God, like I want to be like a model when I grow up. And it just seemed so far-fetched. So to actually be living in that is such like just a blessing. And, I'm just so grateful to be doing that. So you said you knew at an early age that you wanted to be a model. Yeah, like I knew I was different at an early age. And most of the times, that's what makes a great model. It's like when they're different, when they can stand out, almost like a sore thumb. Well, you stand out. You definitely stand out. I think that everybody that's been to that place has noticed you. You have a look, and like I can definitely tell that you were a model. And I, just like with Josie and the other models, I didn't get a lot of time to shoot with you, and we'll rectify that in coming events. Yeah, absolutely. But what were some of your inspirations into getting into like how did you even know that there was like modeling was a thing? Oh my God, yeah. So growing up, again, because everything stems from my childhood, just growing up I used to watch America's Next Top Model a lot, and I used to just be like, oh my God, like I want to live that dream and like being a model. And I've always been in such like a quiet person, so I felt like being a model kind of like it stood for something in a sense. Like, when people see your pictures, like, they always say, a picture speaks 1,000 words. And so me just being like a quiet, reserved person, I was like, I need to do something big and like bold. Like I need to literally like step out of my comfort zone, get out of that turtle shell, and, really do something for myself so I can like speak to like a lot of people. And I felt like becoming a model was the best thing to do for that. Yeah.
For sure. Like what is your like you said that when you're become a model that like
Mhm.
speaks to people, like what is the message that you want to bring to the people?
I think the message I want to bring to people is like anyone can do it. Like rather what your odds may be,
Hmm.
like if you just step out and do it, like you can do it. You
Yeah.
know, because I didn't have like family support, or I didn't have like money or
Really?
anything to like yeah to become a model. It's something like I just kept telling myself growing up, like this is something I want to do.
Right.
And if for it to be like foretold years later and me living in it is just extremely a blessing. So that's kind of like the message I want to tell people. Like, there is a time, there's a season when you have to step out of your box, and I think being a model made me just that much more confident, where I lacked confidence at. So
So it's like a very inspirational type of.
oh God, it's very inspirational. Yeah, like every time I see photos of like the photographers, when I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that's me. Like I can't. Like I'm always like, I feel like just like a little baby
Yeah.
or something. Like it's always so fresh and new to me. That's how I know like this is my calling. Like this is a passion for me, because every time. Like I said, I'm behind the camera. It's always so fresh. It's so new. Like I get that little nervous tingle in my
Yeah.
knees. I'm like, oh my God, like I'm in front of the camera. Like I'm actually doing it. Like it's so crazy. But it's exactly where I think I need to be.
Do you
Yeah.
find yourself like finding people to like mentor, or do they just gravitate towards
Oh
you?
my God, both. So shout out to Nicole. I think she's watching. But Nicole is she says she's not a model. I'm like, you are a model. And she's like, no, I need to learn from you. I'm like, I need to learn from you. Shout out to her. But we did a photo shoot just a couple of days ago with another fellow friend, Kevin.
Okay.
And he actually shot with the Jaguars. So shout out to him, because the photos
Nice.
were amazing. But I felt myself coaching her, but in the most natural, respectful way. Like she
Right.
was like, I brought you because like I'm nervous behind the camera. I'm like, you're amazing. Like you know exactly what to do. But just naturally, like I kind of went into like coaching. Like I was like, like make sure you smile, like tilt your head this way. Like and she did absolutely amazing. Like she's such a natural. But it's a little bit of both. Like people gravitate towards me for coaching, and they just gravitate towards me if they want to just know who I am. So I get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, you definitely have like that look to where people just kind of know they like I just assumed I saw you at the door and I said he needs to be up there. And eventually you were, and I was like it was like I ran over there to try and grab a few shots, and I'm the type of person I like to shoot the like room shots,
Yeah.
just kind of like what's happening in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And environmental, I guess is the word, but
Mm-hmm.
I do try to shoot over people. I'm not one of those guys that like has to. I don't want to sign up for time on the
Yeah.
infinity white wall.
Understandable. Yeah.
I'm like that's too much pressure for me. I don't
Mhm.
need that pressure on me
Mhm.
because I'm not really great with posing models.
Okay.
And though you've only been doing it for like 6 months, you said.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel fairly confident in hitting all those poses and hitting all those marks?
Yeah, I'm definitely getting more comfortable, like with my angles, and not feeling so like repetitive.
Hmm.
Because I feel like these last couple months I've had like at least over 20 photo shoots,
Nice.
but none of them felt repetitive.
Okay.
Like all of them has felt different, even though some of the poses were the same. The atmosphere was different, or the way
Right.
I was feeling was different, or maybe I was feeling more confident in one shoot and then less confident in the other. But still, I feel like I've done great marks in both photo shoots.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, just like growing up and just like really, really wanting it. Like I always, even if I'm not feeling it, like I always try to put my best foot forward.
Mm-hmm.
And then I always like amaze myself. Like it's like I said, it's always a fresh new experience for me. Like when I see the photos, I'm like, oh my God, like I just can't believe that's me. And they're like, that's you. And I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah,
Like
it's just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing what the camera can capture and just like what you can do when you're in front of the camera. So
That's true.
yeah.
That's true. Are you always this nice?
I try to be. I feel like I'm not. I feel like someone asked me, I think it was my Uber driver or something. He was like, do you ever like yell? When's the last time you yelled? I was like, it's probably been like years since I yell. Like I'm very just soft spoken. I'm very just, I don't know. I'm calm and
Yeah.
just like relaxed. And like when it's time to work, like I'm there. I'm ready.
Yeah.
And let's do it.
So would you say that you have like two different personalities almost, like hi, I'm Kameren, and then when I'm in front of the camera, I'm Kameren.
So I'm glad you said that. No, so I'm definitely learning how to like coincide both. Like I know like when I do my photos, it doesn't like I'm nervous, but I feel like I'm always nervous. Like I said, I
Yeah.
have that nervous tingle. But I'm also a silent disco DJ,
Oh,
and
okay.
that is very eccentric. It's electric.
Mm-hmm.
It's like very like high energy.
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of like my like fun alter ego, like when I'm behind the DJ booth.
Because you're like behind the thing.
And
you
not
can
so
kinda-
much that I'm loud, but I'm much more, I guess you would say, loose.
Okay.
Where in like modeling, I'm more like, not like a statue, but more like And then when I'm like behind the DJ booth, I'm like, yeah, like it's I guess I'd say that's
You
like
kind
an
of
alter
cut loose
ego.
a little bit.
Yeah, I cut loose a
I
little
feel
bit,
that
yeah.
when I was in a band, I used to play in a band. I was a drummer in a band, and being behind the drum, like I would be out in front of everybody before we played.
Yeah.
And I'd just be quiet and sitting in a booth somewhere.
Mhm.
They didn't
Oh,
even know.
that's
People
sick.
wouldn't even know that I was the drummer
Yeah.
until the band go on, and then I would get up there and I would just like animal, just
Yeah,
just rock out. And I'm all the way back behind everybody, and I'm behind my drum kit. I felt safe and
Yeah.
secure.
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, maybe that's you feel safe behind the DJ booth.
I do.
Okay,
Yeah, I feel
so
safe behind DJ.
do
And
you do
there's
that
times
full
where,
time?
so silent disco is part time, modeling is part time, and then I part time work at Pandora in a town center.
Okay.
So yes, there is a way to juggle three because I do juggle all three.
Yeah.
Busy.
Busy.
Yeah, I know. I will say my favorites definitely are silent disco and modeling.
Okay.
I feel like for silent disco, it's almost like a networking event times like 100.
Right.
It's like even though there's so much energy, like you meet so many people in there, like whether it's a model, whether it's a photographer, whether it's just like someone like
At the disco?
yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
like disco is like, oh my God, it's a flavor for everyone. Like you have your older couples, you have
Really?
your younger people. Obviously not too young, it's 21 and up for
Nice
for the
disclaimer.
bar scene, 21 and up, guys. But no, oh my God, I've met so many amazing people just from silent disco alone. It's crazy. So that's another reason why I love silent disco. Not only because music is another passion of mine,
Right.
but just the people you meet.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. I was like, I would have never known, like, you were like a football player. I would never know like you were a photographer or like a model. Like,
Right.
it's just amazing the amount of people you can meet there. Yeah.
Yeah. My daughter is. I think they're going. When are they going? They're going like this weekend, right?
To
The silent disco. Yeah.
I think that was her birthday, right?
Yeah.
Well, that'll be
On the
next
12th.
weekend.
Next
after.
weekend.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
I know they're doing a bunch of stuff. I'm probably just going to go to dinner and then leave. But I know they're going to like a couple of different places, and then they're going to end up at a silent disco.
disco.
I
Yeah,
don't
I
know if
think
there's
we're-
multiple in Jacksonville, but
We're doing some karaoke that night. So
are
should come
you?
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't do karaoke.
There is, I will say, there is like, I think there is multiple silent discos. I will say, Hush Hush Jacks does it the best, I feel like. Just because there's like I said, there's a flavor for everyone. There's a green channel, which is, your old school, your oldies, the old goals, so your Michael Jackson, your Whitney Houston.
I was just about to ask you, what are you considering old school?
Yeah. So more like sometimes I just love the groove.
Yeah.
Like I love all the channels, but the green really hits me because I feel like I'm very much an old soul.
Okay.
So to hear like the oldies just like jamming, like Donna Summer,
Okay.
and just all the goodies just
Those
playing
are
on
the
there.
golden oldies. Yeah, I love it.
Mhm.
Hey, I don't mean to interrupt, but Cameron, can you just scoot a little closer to the
Yeah, of
mic?
course.
It's like dropping off just a bit. Thank
Okay.
you.
Is it dropping off?
Yeah, just because, well, I don't know. When he talks, he kind of like looks up just
Ah,
Look up
I
a little
gotcha.
bit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a personality. I
Hey
get
man,
it.
technical
Yeah.
technical stuff. Technical.
Is this better?
difficult.
Way better.
Hey, okay.
All right, good deal. I was going to ask you about being a model,
Mhm.
getting into it. Like, what would you say the barrier to entry as a model is? Like being that you've only just started your career as a model. How difficult is it to get into that field?
That's a very good question. I think the difficulty lies in like your confidence level because it does take a lot of confidence.
Okay.
Because I just shot, I just had a commercial with Disney, main production Disney in
Nice.
Orlando. And for a second, I was like, oh my God, like, what am I doing here? Like when they called me on set, I was like, ugh, like I don't know what to do. Like, what am I doing? Oh God, I can't discuss it. I want to discuss it so much. But there was a scene I
Did
was
they make
shooting.
you sign an NDA?
Yeah.
Wow. That's our first NDA. Yet.
There was a scene I was shooting, and I just, I just wasn't confident in shooting it. We had to shoot it multiple times.
Yeah.
But the third time I got it. So I think it really relies on confidence. I
Right.
think that will be a blocker for you. Like I said, I think anyone can be a model. I think it's more or less like what looks, but
Mhm.
like if you're workable and like if people like to work with you.
Right.
I think it's really building that connection that really makes you the best model that you can be. Because I always tell people are like, oh my God, like I can never be a model. I'm like, yes, you can. I was like, if you get your confidence up, if you have the right connections, if you have like a positive model about yourself, like
Mhm.
God, like you can definitely be a model because a model is someone that's inspirational,
Okay.
someone that's not untouchable. Like I don't feel like a model can be untouchable. Like if people feel like they can't be at your level, then what are you modeling? Like you have to model to be a model. You have to model something that's reachable for other people to achieve. So
Are you just wanting to do? Are you like mainly focusing on like being a studio photographer, like model for photography, or like do you want to do like the runway stuff?
ooh, so I'm glad you asked that. Yes. So yeah, so I love being a commercial model. It wasn't my first choice. It was just a door that opened to me, and I walked through it, and it's been an amazing choice thus far. But I really want to get into runway and high fashion modeling.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is the end goal. Vogue is the end goal.
Tighten up, Vogue. Coming after you.
Yeah, so Vogue is like the end goal. Of course, there's like Prada, there's Hermes. There's Gucci, but there's something about Vogue. It's very, again, bold and confident.
It's been around for a long time.
Oh my God, it's been around for such a long time, and there's so many like flavors to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I really can see myself, modeling that in a way where I feel like I can do a really great job at it. So yes, runway high fashion is very much in goal for me. But being a commercial model is just as exciting for me
Sure.
as those two.
Does Disney pay very well?
Disney does pay very well. Yes, they
Okay,
do.
that's all. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a lot of runway work in Jacksonville, or do you have to like go out of state or?
Yeah. So necessarily, I don't know. There's a lot of runway here in Jacksonville. I know there's a lot in Miami.
Okay.
That does a lot of like runway shows and whatnot. But I am willing to travel
Sure.
if granted to me the right opportunity, going in the right direction. I just always tell people like they're like, would you move somewhere else? I'm like, I don't know, cause I kind of love Jacksonville. Like, it's been a it's been a journey, a positive journey for me at
Okay.
least, and I feel like even if I do travel, I feel like Jacksonville will kind of still be like a hub for me.
Okay.
Like it'll kind of still be somewhere I can come back,
Sure.
reflect, vacation, stay in, because I have a lot of connections here. A lot more than I can even like count on my fingers. Like it's crazy. I might have to like write it down in a journal, but I have a
You
lot
should.
of connections here. And when you do get to a certain level in your life in a certain season, you do get into that reflection time. And I
Mhm.
feel like, Jacksonville could be like a reflection time for me where I can just come back and visit, and vacation and just be grateful and see how far ahead in my journey I'm at.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've lived here my entire life, so I'm like what's so funny
You're like,
is,
I'm over it.
yeah, like I listen to Jennifer's podcast, and
Okay.
she they love Jacksonville. They
Mhm.
rave about it, and I don't want to bash on that. I think
Mhm.
if people like it, they like it.
Well, it's up and coming too.
Personally,
Yeah.
I'm tired of it.
You're tired of it. Okay.
I need a change, but I think it's good that you would keep your horizons open, keep your mind open to
Mhm.
venturing out, because I feel like, and I don't know, and that's why I'm asking you,
Mhm.
because you're probably more of an authority on modeling than I am. I've never done it a day. Actually, I lied. I did do it one time. I modeled for one of my photographer friends. And
Okay,
it was
there
the
you
worst,
go.
It was the worst experience of her life.
Uh-oh.
I'm the worst.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but it just seems like there's probably more opportunities elsewhere
Mhm.
for it. I wanted to ask all those questions to kind of lead up to tying it together with the archetype. The archetype, if you know what an archetype is, the reason I call it that is because it's like if it's dogs, there's multiple different types of dogs, and that's an archetype. You know, for media and content creation, there's so many different things. There's cameras, there's photography, videography, there's the models, there's actors, actresses. You know, those are all part of the archetype. But geez, where was I going with that? I don't know. Well, I'm old, so I lose my train of thought. Oh, now I remember.
There you go.
Yeah, I got it. So I like to try and tie it all together. For most of the people that listen to this podcast are people that are on the back of the camera instead of the front. But I love, and I asked a lot of these questions with Josie as well, because she's on both sides of the camera as well. But issues with photographers, as far as, have you ever had any really like negative experiences with, and you don't have to say names or what have you had any negative experiences with photographers or a videographer or someone that's doing the work, or that you're working with in that regard?
So thankfully not yet, but there was one situation that kind of made me a little uncomfortable. So I like, because I'm still very self-conscious, even though a lot of people tell me like, oh my God, like you're so beautiful, and like I really, really appreciate it, but sometimes I don't feel it. And so sometimes when I'm like behind the camera, you know, I kind of forget to like look at the photos unless my like photographer comes like, do you like this angle? Which I love that the photographers do. Like most of my photographers do that. But if it's anyone new, they don't tend to kind of like show me the photos before they post them. And so one time I was communicating with this gentleman. I was like, hey, can you send me the photos that you shot of me? And he was like, yeah, I just have to like, put them on my hard drive, and I got you. But before I seen the photos, there were already some posted on his Instagram, and there were like angles I didn't like love, and there were like really like hard edits, and I was like, oh.
And did he tag you in all those?
No, he didn't tag me. I just
thank
seen it
God.
on my timeline, so I was like, oh. I was like, okay. I was like, not my best shoot. So I didn't end up reaching out to him, nor did he reach back out to me with the photos. So I guess for me, I think it's important. I think for any other models, it's important to really have that relationship with your photographer in a very respectful way.
Sure.
Thank God, my agency doesn't limit me to attend collaborating events, because most agencies they don't allow you to.
Right.
But I'm considered a non-union and a freelance model, so I'm allowed to still have photographers shoot me and attend networking events.
Well, you jumped right to my next question. Are you with an agency? And
yeah, so I'm with Posewell Models. I love Agnes. Hi, Agnes, if you're watching, you're amazing. Actually, a couple of my friends, they asked me if they should sign with Agnes. I said, oh, absolutely, Agnes is amazing. She's more of a friend than an agent. She's very knowledgeable. She's been doing it, I believe, for 15 plus years.
Okay.
And her agency is very diverse. She has queer models. She has disabled models. She has family. She has kids.
Will she take an old fat guy?
Stop it. You're not old and fat. But yes, she will definitely take you. And so, yeah, a lot of my friends approached me, and I told them, yeah, send your portfolio in and like have that meeting with Agnes. Like, she's amazing. But yes, with Agnes, yeah, I am what's considered a non-unit, like a freelance model. So I'm able to, do things like this, like a podcast. I'm able to do networking events. I know certain agencies, they limit that. So I'm really grateful. I'm part of the agency that allows me to kind of network and spread my wings.
Yeah, that's a huge plus.
Yeah, it's a huge plus. Yeah, and for my first like major signing to an agency, like it's really big.
Yeah,
so I'm really grateful for that.
I feel like a lot of them. I've never worked with a modeling agency, but I imagine that they all do have a lot of restrictions.
It's just a lot of ins and outs.
Right.
Yeah, and so I always have questions for Agnes, because like I said, I've only been a model for 6 months. Even when I like book a commercial or something, I'm always asking her. She's always giving me the best advice, and she's amazing. Yeah, and props to her.
Yeah, shout out Agnes.
Shout out to Agnes.
And what is the group again?
Agency is called Posewell Models.
Posewell?
It's like Posewell.
I got you.
Models.
Okay. So Posewell Models, Agnes.
Yeah,
if you're a model coming up or wanting to be into modeling, that's probably who you need to go see.
Yeah, it's very
and
diverse.
We're not sponsored by them, by the way. I'm just giving them a shout out.
Yeah, very diverse, very easy to work with, answers all your questions, very direct, very clean cut. And yeah, it's exactly what I need for an agent, because I always do have a lot of questions, and she answers them, and I feel relieved, and I feel good after, and yeah.
It's nice to have that
It's nice to have
that little security blanket almost.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
How does so if I'm as a photographer,
Mhm.
if I don't meet you in any network event or what have you, how does one find you and go about hiring you? Do they go to like the www dot the website of Posewell and try to find out? Do they have like a drop down menu with all the models on there?
So not that way, but
Okay.
most of the times, well, I feel like as a model, you should definitely have like social media.
Sure.
That's a good way. I think my biggest portfolio is on Instagram.
Okay.
So I'm always, on Instagram. I mean, I guess they could contact you from the Postwall website,
Right.
at least for reference. If they can't find your Instagram, I guess you could find me on the Postwall. I don't know what information is stored there, but you could. Yeah, you just set something up like a fair, manageable arrangement, and I think it'd be a great collab between someone willing to work with like a model from the
You had to say that
agency.
word.
I know, collab.
So here it is, guys. The shameless plug for Collab Cafe.
Collab.
That's where we met. That's where I met Kameren, and
Yes.
hopefully we'll have many more nights at Collab together. I missed the
Absolutely.
last one. Were you at the Barbie one?
Oh my God, I barely made it. Yeah, it was such a crazy day. So I had just shot with my friend Nicole, with Kevin. Shout out to Kevin again. And then we drove all the way to the collab, and then I had to DJ that night
Okay.
at Silent Disco. So it was my DJ night, and a few of the collab partners came and represented me, which was awesome.
Nice.
They had a blast, and I just love seeing people have fun. That's what makes my night. It's like when people enjoy like the type of, because I'm in control of the music when
Yeah.
I'm the DJ for the night. So I'm controlling all 3 channels, and just to see people listen to my set and have a good time.
And jamming out.
Just jamming out, yeah. It just almost doesn't feel like work. It
Yeah.
just feels like, God, like I'm just having a great night.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Mhm.
I will always wonder, not to go back to the silent disco, but it is something that's very intriguing to me.
Very.
The first time I saw it, I was like, because the first time I saw it was on a TikTok video, and they don't play the music. It just
Nope.
you just see
You
the
just
people
hear.
dance. You just hear their feet moving. It's dead silent, and you hear like shuffling around, and I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah,
It's the oddest sight. If you don't have the headphones
Yeah.
on, it is the weirdest thing to see.
and that's what draws people. It's like they're like, what are they doing in there? Like they're weird. It's like,
Right.
no, like they're jamming out.
I mean, I think it's great as far as noise pollution. As an ex musician,
Yeah,
people could hear us from blocks away.
Yeah.
Through
Just
stone
shredding.
walls, just tearing it up. Yeah, and we shut down a couple of clubs because we were too loud.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, it's nice for the environment and for the
It
neighbors.
is. I think it's a movement too. I think it, it breaks. I know it broke me out of my shell
Okay.
going to Silent Disco. Like I remember, I used to just literally be like the wall hugger before I worked there. Like I would go and just be like, I don't want to see. Like I don't want anyone to see me dancing.
Yeah.
But it kind of breaks you out. Like you hear that right song in the right moment, you're like, I don't care who's watching me. Like it's me, myself, the dance floor, and the headphones. Like I'm rocking out.
Just kicking it.
So it's a good place. I don't know. I love it. Like
Yeah.
It's definitely a passion. It's definitely on my list for passions. Silent Disco is definitely one.
Definitely, I'll put it on the to-do list.
Yeah.
I don't know when I'll get to it. When I'll do that to-do list.
You don't have to stay all night. You can go. You can.
Just
I say
run in
happy
and run
hour
out.
is like 9 to 10. Happy hour is like when it's not so busy.
Yeah.
You can still kind of get like a feel for it. You're like, okay, it's time for me to go. It's getting too crowded.
Yeah. I mean, even when I would go to a club, I wouldn't like dance.
Yeah.
I was not that guy.
Yeah.
Coming up, when I was like 21, 22, I'd go to a bar or a club with a girl I was seeing, and they would just dance in
Yeah.
front of me, and I would just hold my beer and do this.
Oh my God, I can't.
That was it. And with the strobe lights, it looked like I was doing a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. They're like, you're having a great time. You were jamming. Like, yeah, I sure was. Just hands up.
Yeah. These days, I just drink my little coffee and sit on my couch.
There you go. Yeah. And I very much have my vibes like that too, where I'm just like, oof, no more photo shoots, no Silent Disco, no Pandora. I'm just
need
relaxing on my
some
balcony.
downtime.
Some
Yeah.
downtime. Yeah.
What do you do for your
Definitely.
downtime? What do you do for fun, or do you don't have any downtime?
Oh gosh, yeah. Sometimes it feels like it, especially with like 3 professions, 3
Right.
careers. Downtime, let's see. I do see myself going out to eat. I love going out to eat. I love taking walks. Um, I I have some gamers on YouTube that I watch too
Okay.
for downtime.
Markiplier.
And then I have my plants too.
Your plants.
Yeah, my plants take up a lot of my time
You have
because
a
they're
green thumb?
so dramatic. Yeah, my plants
Your
are
plants
so
are dramatic?
They're very much dramatic. Like I
All
forget to
right.
water them one day and they're like drooping, and I'm like, "You're so dramatic."
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it when you walked in. It looks like there was a vine growing up on my window in the kitchen. It's my girlfriend has she got a tomato. They sell them in the little mason jar.
Yeah.
And you just put the dirt in and then the seeds or whatever. And it grows up, and it's cherry tomatoes. And that thing is dead. I tried to tell her it's dead. But she's just holding out for hope. It did drop a few more cherry tomatoes, but she's working on her green thumb.
Yeah.
You know, we went from black thumb to we're now in the brownish green stage.
Same.
So
yeah, I definitely won some and I lost some. Like I definitely lost a lot of plants.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I feel like plants definitely make something cozy, and I like more of like a zen environment. You know, it's definitely when, you know, there's some days where I have to do all three of my professions, where I have to go in early morning at Pandora, midday a photo shoot, and then to the early morning hours silent disco. And so I like to come home to my apartment and really have that zen and that relax reset time.
That sounds
I think
nice.
That's really important. Yeah.
I haven't had that in a long time. There's always kids around or something, you know, dogs, kids.
There's sometimes where it's not cheap to 2:30 in the morning, but at least there's some time where I can just
walk in and you put everything down. It's just quiet.
Yeah, because 2:30 in the morning is weirdly quiet, and I kind of enjoy it.
Or are your plants screaming at you?
Oh gosh, yeah, being dramatic, like they always are.
Well, I want to take a quick second for anybody that's in the live right now. If you have any questions, type them into the YouTube chat bar. My producer over here, Patrick, will read them to us.
Yes. Yeah, 2X World. Ooh, excuse me. 2X World said, "What's good?"
What's up, Chris? Your time is coming, my friend.
Yes. Yeah. So I actually just shot with Chris.
Did you?
At the Barbie themed event.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it was so awesome. I've never shot him before. I've always seen him there, but I never shot him before. His images are amazing. So shout out to you,
he's crushing.
Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah, all the photos, I was like, what? Like, he looks so good. And he got all my angles right. I'm like, yes.
That is a difficult thing.
Yeah,
and that kind of leads back into, you know, hitting the poses, hitting the marks. For someone like me, I've always done a lot more landscape. And it wasn't until probably about 3 or 4 years ago that people were like, hey, come, you know, can you shoot me? Can you do this? Can you do that? I found myself doing boudoir photos and things of that nature that I never thought I'd even do. I was like, what am I doing here? You know, and I didn't know how to pose them. And they didn't know how to pose. They, you know, a lot of people are unaware of their body and how certain angles make their body look either one way or the other. I won't say good or bad. Yeah. Though I just said it. It'll make it look one way or the other. And I mean, I've seen a lot of videos and a lot of posts on Instagram of models. I love seeing this. They show the model pose and then they show this is me for real. Side by side. And it's like you look at them and you're like,
it's like dream reality.
Didn't I see you in Target earlier? Like what?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how you combat that or how you learned all that stuff. And you know,
I think just obviously I'm a visual and I'm just like a textbook learner. Obviously it's no textbook to show you how to pose. But
definitely
I think,
probably helps to know your body.
I think so too. Yeah, like I know my angles. Like I take, great joy in just noticing changes in my body. You know, and what looks good, what doesn't look good. Because I've had haircuts that didn't look good on me. You know, I've had a certain outfit that doesn't look good in me or that I'm not confident with. But I think too, I've been blessed to work with, photographers that can kind of feel my vibe. And they know what they want to capture in that perfect picture. So they naturally just be like, hey, turn your neck a little bit more that way. And that helps a ton. Okay. And then you see the effect of the photo after, and you're like, oh my goodness, that's gorgeous. I didn't know I could pose like that. And it's I've always experienced that. So I'm hoping people that work with their photographers or models, they experience that as well. Because there's sometimes, when I get in front of the camera, I get lost too. And I like it when my photographer's like, hey, like, you know, put your shoulder up or put your neck up just a little bit. Like, that helps a ton.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like, you know, when your photographer is kind of like hyping you up, like, oh my God, like all those shots look good. And when you get the feedback, then you can kind of feel for what fits you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Like,
kind of start like, okay, he had me put my shoulder. So you kind of memorize that a little bit.
yeah.
So, I mean, because obviously you can't see your angles.
You can't
From
see
where
your
you're at.
angles. Yeah, so you have to
Let-
kind of like, you know, I always start facing the camera,
Mm-hmm.
and then I always start face forward, little face up, because that's a model pose, and then I turn my head just a little bit, but not too much, because you lose some of the definition in your face if you turn too far, and then the
Right.
camera can't capture you. So I'm learning that as well. Like,
Depends
when
on
you're-
where the lights are at. too.
exactly, yeah. Like when you're turning, like don't turn all the way, just turn kind of like diagonal, and that becomes a beautiful picture too. I have so many pictures from photographers with my neck turned like that, and I'm very, I know it sounds weird, but
Like
I'm
too
very
much?
self-conscious too because I have a very long neck, and so sometimes when I turn too much,
Mm-hmm.
it's like it elongates, and I'm like, oh, I'm like, delete that like right away, please. But no, I think like really having that photographer kind of just like tell you like just those little tips.
Yeah.
You know, it helps a
For
lot. Like,
sure.
you know, because like technically, so before I even started modeling, I almost forgot to share this. I actually was a photographer.
Okay. I know I saw your other page.
Yeah.
And it says it's what is it called? What is your page? The title of it? The name?
I got Cam Behind the Cam.
Cam Behind the Cam. That was what it
Mhm.
was. And I was like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, is he a photographer too?
Yeah. So I
Okay.
actually started with photography, and then that kind of boosted me to be a model. But I feel like us as photographers, like when you have that eye, like you know what the perfect picture is. Like I want to see you like, you know, do something like this, or I want to see you like do that. Like I want to see, and then they do it, and then they get that boost of confidence, and then they just skyrocket from there.
Sure.
And so that's how I always was. Like when I was able to shoot with people back in Cleveland or here in Jacksonville when I had my camera, I always say like, oh, I want to see you do this. Like that's gonna look so beautiful. And they do it, and they're like, oh my God, you know I can do that. I'm like, yeah, you can, and you can definitely do that. So I feel like it's almost like a vibe you have to have between the photographer. There's like a certain trust that has to be, like when you're shooting with a photographer, like you have to build that trust in that relationship. I think that's very
Right.
important for a model. Yeah,
Hmm.
because a model, I mean, you are the model. You're in front of the camera, and so you have to kind of guide your photographer. You know what you expect to what you want the results to look like,
Right.
and then the photographer, you know, they have to kind of make sure, okay, like I know the assignment. I have to make sure like you're staying on that straight and narrow to make sure, you know, I'm shooting and I'm capturing the best photos.
Do you do a lot of themed shoots?
Oh my God, yeah. So I'm very feminine, but shout out to Agnes though. She actually got me in a dress. That's actually one of my favorite shoots. It was a high fashion streetwear shoot. Oh God, it was absolutely beautiful. But it was so cold that day. My nose was running. My ears were
Or you
hurting.
have the little bling bling? You
Yeah,
can't
so
really
for
see
some
it.
reason, when it gets really cold and windy, my ears hurt, and so my ears were hurting, and I had nothing covering my ears. But, yeah, Agnes got me in a dress. My agent, she shot me, and yeah, it was one of the best photo shoots I've ever done. Like it's definitely beautiful. Like it definitely looks like, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but
Toot
it
it.
definitely looks like
Toot that
Vogue.
horn.
Like when she sent it to me, I was like, oh my God, I didn't know I can look like that in a dress, like a man in a dress. I'm like, that's me. But I tend to be very open to possibilities, and you know, I trust my photographers. If they're like, hey, like I want to see you do this, I'm gonna try it, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, we'll scrap it.
Sure.
So that was one of my favorite shoots. I did a high fashion Y2K shoot with Josie, Jen, and Elliot, which came out absolutely beautiful. All of the theme looks and everything were absolutely beautiful. Shout out to them. I love Elliot. Elliot's a great photographer, and Josie's a great manager, and Jen is just an amazing model.
Yeah.
So it was amazing just kind of working with them and doing a Y2K shoot. And shout out to Jalen too, because Jalen was there too. So Jalen, thank you for that. And then I did another Vogue like shoot with Sophie. Sophie also has ties to collab, and most of my photos on Instagram is Sophie.
Yeah.
Like she just killed the shot. Like every shot, I was just like, I can't believe that's me. So yeah, I love doing theme shoots. Actually, it makes me more comfortable when I have theme shoots, because I kind of know what I have to bring to the table.
Yeah, they give you the
I know what I have to
assignment.
bring to the table. Yeah, I know the assignment. I'm gonna do my best to do that. So yeah, I love a themed shoot. I think it's really clear for both parties what they want to achieve and how to achieve it.
I
Hmm.
gotcha. Yeah, I spoke with well, when I spoke with Josie, she had to tell me what do they call it, a vision board or
Oh, a mood
a
board.
mood board.
Love mood
Yeah,
boards.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I forgot all about it, but what I used to do
Hmm.
is not a mood board, but it was something. I have a sketchbook,
Oh.
and I can't draw at all, mind you. But I have a sketchbook that I would have an idea for a frame of, just one that one pose that I want, and
Hmm.
I would try my hardest to draw it.
Hmm.
And I showed it to my family one time, and they had a great laugh
Yeah.
over it. So definitely, I'll probably be hitting Josie to try and make me up some mood boards. I'd like to get more into shooting models and working with with people that know what they're doing, and just trying to build that style on my portfolio. I've really I mean, I've never really had an interest to really go after model photography.
Yeah.
Like I said, I like shooting the landscapes
Landscape,
and
yeah.
environmental stuff, but
It's beautiful. With
it's
nature.
and apparently I'm pretty good at taking self-portraiture.
Yeah.
Like they always come out super clean, and then when I
Mhm.
get somebody else in the same environment, I'm like, how come you're not me?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just me, but
Yeah.
so anyways, yeah, that's definitely something that I'm going to be looking forward to. What do we have any questions
Yeah,
yet?
we actually just had a question that came in for Cam from Nicole Trader.
Can we call you Cam?
Oh, Nicole. Hi, sweetheart.
Like I
Yeah.
said, it's Nicole. What are your favorite thrifting locations, and what is your favorite item to thrift?
Okay.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, this is the thrift trip we've been trying to plan for like 3 months now. My favorites, and that's another
She's
thing
locking
too.
it in right now.
Yeah,
So
she's
you're getting
locking
it
it
on
in.
video.
She's like,
so-
"Look, I got you on the spot. Like, you have to answer the question." Yes, I do. My favorite thrift shops are there is a shop right around the corner. I live in the Riverside area, closer to Avondale. It's called Southern Crossings. They have some very amazing staple pieces in there, and I've actually incorporated a lot of those into my shoots.
Ah.
I also do a lot of shopping at Ross. I do a lot of shopping at TJ Maxx, and then also I do a lot at Angel Aid. They're on Emerson and the thrift store.
I was going to say Ross and TJ Maxx are not thrift stores.
Well, they have some thrifty prices. Like their clearance
They do.
section is pretty
They
thrifty.
do.
But that's another thing that I wanted to touch on very quickly too. Is
Sure.
I feel like a lot of people feel like they have to have like
Designer
super
clothes.
designer clothes. 100% of my shoots on Instagram, if you follow me on Instagram, is thrifted items. That is all I have in my closet. I don't have any name brand clothing, or I don't have any designer clothing. Everything I shoot in is thrifted.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
you
So
for sharing that.
yeah. So there was even a shoot with it's one of my fellow photographers, Gabe. Shout out to Gabe. We did a photo shoot in the park, and we did it with flowers. It was a whole thing. I only spent $20, $27, and like something cent. I used an old sheet. I bought some flowers. I used some champagne from
Mhm.
Publix that was like on sale, and the whole concept looked just as much as like something you'll see like on Pinterest.
Mm.
So I want it to be known like you don't have to spend hundreds of dollars on a photo shoot to make it look nice. Like you have what you have, incorporate it, and I'm like 100% sure like you're gonna get amazing results for it.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice, not only for the models, but for
Mhm.
photographers. Like, and I'd never even thought about that. I mean, honestly, I do have ideas for what I'd like to shoot with
Mhm.
models, because I like landscapes. I want to try and incorporate that, excuse me, into a session with a model. So have nice, beautiful landscape behind, and then a nice, and then I'm like, okay, what clothes do I don't have to buy something. Do I need to go
Mhm.
get something? And I'm like, oh, now it just clicked. I can just go down to the thrift store and Goodwill or whatever and
Yeah.
just pick something. I'll wash it.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
and
Wash
say,
it for
"Here,
sure.
wear this.
Yeah. Very much.
Yeah. That's a great piece of advice.
And then I think, that's where kind of like the mood board comes in place, the concept of the mood board, because, you see certain outfits on the certain models, that you save to create your mood board, and you're like, oh, that T-shirt I can get at the store for like $3. Like you start to see what is achievable, and then you can achieve it without it breaking your bank.
Until you're like straight balling.
Until you're straight balling, yeah.
Yeah, when you're balling out of control because it's coming, you're not going to be thrifting, or will you?
No, I would definitely still be thrifting.
Think so?
I would definitely still have some nicer items under my belt, but I think there's something kind of special about thrifting. You know, it has history. I like things that have like history.
Seems like it's a little more functional too.
Very true, and that's why I like living in the Riverside area, because it's very historical. You know, it has like marks of like history, and their architecture is different than certain parts of Jacksonville. So I feel like as a model, you know, I want it to be known like you don't have to have designer things. Like that's not what I came off on. You know, thrifting can get that same exact fashion, if not better, portrayed better. I know a lot of people always ask, like, where do you shop at? You always dress so good. I'm like, thrift.
Yeah.
You can come with me if you want to, so you don't think I'm lying, but trust me, everything in my closet is thrifting.
Maybe I'll let you help me with a makeover.
There we go.
I'm very monochromatic, as you can tell. Gray, black. My house is gray and black. You know, I'm very I don't really have Josie said I have some kind of, what did she say? I had some kind of like a little flair or whatever. That's my thing, but I don't feel like it. I am behind the camera.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be seen all that much, you know, unless I'm taking self-portraiture. But like, you know, I mentioned to either Elliot or her, I can't remember, but when I'm like, I haven't seen myself in any of the videos or photos at Collab, which is perfectly fine with me. You know, that means I'm doing my job right. I've always, especially like shooting bands, when you're shooting photography, you have to stay low. You're not supposed to stand out.
Yeah, the shot.
You go to like shoot a sporting event, you should not stand out. You shouldn't be wearing a bright pink shirt,
That's
you know,
true.
and a green fluorescent hat. Everyone shouldn't see that you're the photographer. You just be like a ninja.
Yeah, you're in and out.
So that's kind of how I like to do my thing. But I've always, every time I've seen you, you look fabulous for sure.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question,
Nicole?
Nicole. Good. And we got it on record now, so he's locked in. You're gonna have to just come pick him up tomorrow. I guess.
You go. There you go.
You guys can go thrifting.
There you go. But yeah, no, there's definitely such thing as thrift gems.
Thrift gym? Oh,
yeah,
gems.
thrift gems.
I was like, gyms?
Yeah.
Like
Gyms.
GYM?
Yeah,
no, not JIM.
Not the gym. Yeah, definitely thrift gems. Yeah, you go through those racks and you find stuff. You're like, oh my god, like, this looks like it's straight out of Gucci or straight out of something.
Sometimes you can find those things.
Oh,
I know
yeah,
my daughter found a Tommy Hilfiger, looked it up, like a jacket, looked it up, and it was worth hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, you can find Louis Vuitton. You can find some really good things if you're looking close up. You know what to look for.
Right.
So, yeah, I love thrifting. It's definitely one of my downtime hobbies.
For sure. And like I said to all the photographers out there, when you're planning your mood boards and your shoots, that's a great a piece of advice. That way you buy a $5 outfit from a thrift store, you go to the beach and do a beach shoot, and you don't care about messing it up.
I don't care about messing it up, no.
That's so excellent. Not to stick on that, but you know, it seemed like we've been talking about thrifting forever. But it's a really good, and that's what we're here for, is whatever I can pull out of you that a photographer that I will use in the future, other photographers may use. You know, so that's how it all ties in together, and I yeah. So
Nicole says, "Love you, Cam."
Aw, love you too, my love.
Yeah, I asked you, could we call you Cam? Of
course.
Are we friends like that now?
Oh God, of course. Yes, you can call me Cam.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I had it in my mind to tell you that, like, when the second time I came to Collab, you shook my hand and you were like, you talked to me as if we've been friends forever, and you're not the first person to do that.
Yeah.
This is why I love this community so much.
Same.
I do. I really love, you know, all those guys for the Collab people and the people that go. Everybody's been so nice, so supportive.
Absolutely.
Have you? Well, obviously that is going to help you in your career choice, but I mean, I was going to say, has that helped you in this field of work?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think before, I wasn't really in the studio, like doing studio shoots. I was just doing shoots like, in the street or something like that, or, in my backyard.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, being exposed to collab, it really got me those quality shots. It got me learning how to work in, a situation where you do have sometimes 7 to 8 cameras looking at you, and learning how to like, give everyone like almost like not demanding the room, but just like being grounded, like not being shaken when you have that amount of cameras.
Yeah.
There was like one time I was there was like at least 7, and I stayed calm. I started sweating a little bit, but I stayed calm, and I got good shots from all of those photographers, and I was really proud of myself, because there's some times where when I do get in front of the camera, or if I kind of like shy back, I'm like, oh, I can feel myself like stuttering or like sweating or something like that. But I think even at collab, like you have to have a level of confidence to like step, whether you're shooting at the affinity wall or whether there's a prop wall or something. You have to have confidence to step behind there, and like people watch and record you. Like it's a big thing. It's a big thing.
I can imagine it's overwhelming, but having all those people that support you and love you,
oh God,
and that
yes,
so well, because it's almost like the same group of people every single time. So it does become like a giant family.
John, Ray, oh my God,
Jit.
Yeah, I almost said God again. Yeah, John, Ray, Jit, Will, Joe.
There's so many of them.
2 Joes, JoJo, and then Joe.
I've only met like 2 or 3 of them, and I asked Josie, I said, who the hell runs that place?
Yeah,
I don't know which one is the
so
owner.
It's 3. Yes,
I think they all just, it's like just a
yeah.
They
all help each other. I know 3 there are 3 in there together, and then there's just like some that just helped along the way. Because they've already made a name for themselves before the collab. I think they were a group before, and I think Kevin, the photographer that shot me and Nicole, he worked with them before. So they just have really good good reports going about them, which is really good.
And they're building something awesome.
Oh gosh, yeah.
For sure. It's just nice that there's a place.
It's a place
people,
for that,
for creatives of all types to go. It's fun. I've honestly, I'd never been to another networking event like that. There was another one in Jacksonville, but it's closer to like the beaches. I think it's called Jack's Creators.
I think I see the ad of that on Instagram.
Yeah, and I had a couple of friends that went, but their meetups are different. They're not. They're like they go to a bar. They just it's like you're actually meeting people and you're just talking to people. There's no shooting going on.
Ooh, okay.
You know what I mean? It's more like just
so it's more
like a mixer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, the best way for me to meet people is to shoot them. And
absolutely.
We have got to come up with a better term for photography than shooting, because it sounds awful. But
yeah, you're gonna shoot me.
But you know what I mean. When I'm shooting someone, and then I finish, and it's like, okay, time to move along or what have you. And I try to go up and say, hey, I'm so and so. Put your phone here and get my information.
Yeah, the dot. Yeah.
So we can exchange information, because I will forget your name. I will forget. I'm like, I just go through Instagram trying to find people, and because I'm the opposite of the way that one photographer was. I try to send everybody all the frames that the keepers, the best of the best with honors, sir. Those are the only ones that I'll ever post.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'll send them to you first. And if I don't like them, most of the time it's me. It's not you. Like I took a bunch of pictures of you, and I don't know if I posted any of them. I don't think I did, because I was at a weird angle. I was shooting over somebody's shoulder.
Yeah, it was a lot of people shooting me.
Yeah. That's
I think I had the orange silk blazer on.
Yep. Yeah.
There was a lot of people shooting me.
Looking
I was like,
fabulous.
Thank you. That of course, all of that was thrifted.
Very cool. Very cool.
But yeah, I feel like every time I go to the collab networking events, like I get more and more just confident in it. It becomes, my dream becomes more real.
Yeah.
Like it's not I'm having fun, but I'm working.
And I know you said Vogue and magazine, you want to be on the cover of a magazine, which I know you'll be there one day. but what is your end game for for yourself in modeling?
That's a very good question. I definitely want to hit the runway. There's times where I'm like walking, taking the garbage out. There's like this whole like driveway in my
Do
apartment.
you
and I'm just
sashay?
I do. I do. And everyone always tells me, they're like, why do you look like you're walking on a runway always? I'm like, I'm just preparing myself because,
Practicing.
yeah, like just like as a child, I spoke into existence that I will be a model. Like I'm going to speak into existence, I will be on the runway. And so any chance I get, any opportunity, and I'm not showing off. I'm just really trying to gear myself. So when I go, I'm like, I'm hitting the ground running.
Yeah. Well, when else are you gonna? How else are you gonna practice that?
How else you're gonna practice? Yeah, it's like I can't just go out and like run a runway. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna use this for 30 minutes, learn how to
Right.
walk. Like, no, you have to do it every opportunity, everywhere. I think my end goal as a model is I want to be known for. I just want to have a positive message,
Yeah.
I guess. I don't want to be like untouchable. I don't want to be unreachable. I want the message to be like, you can do anything, you can be anything if you just put your mind to it.
Yeah. I know you say that, but I feel like a lot of models, to me, as someone, like me, a photographer or just a guy, and out in the world, most models are fairly untouchable. You just like
They are. Yeah, I mean,
unless you're a creep.
Yeah. Well, it comes to a point, and I'll use Joanna as a example. Shout out to Joanna if you're watching. She actually won America's Next Top Model season 2.
All right.
She lives here in
She better
Jacksonville.
be watching.
She lives here in Jacksonville. She actually is interested in coming to a collab event, but I think she's busy with other projects.
Sure.
But someone like that, she won America's Next Top Model, so she's
Congratulations.
she's booked for life.
Yeah.
She'll always have that opportunity to work with, to have work come to her. But I kind of just use her as an example. She's not untouchable. She actually approached me one time at Nordstrom Cafe. I was getting a coffee, and she was like, "Who are you? Like, I want your Instagram."
Who are you?
And I was like, I'm Kameren. I just work at Pandora. I wasn't even a signed model yet. I was just getting a coffee at the Nordstrom Cafe, and her assistant was there. And
You just have a look.
Yeah, and then I seen her Instagram, and I saw like she was she was verified. This was before the Meta verified came out. She had like 270,000 followers, and then I read her bio walking away, and it it said like, oh, I want season 2 whenever next time model, and I was like, oh, I was like, okay, let me look you up on Google, girl, because and then I looked her up on Google, and she came up, and I was like, oh my goodness, just the fact that she's here, she's just sitting at a coffee shop. It just shows a lot. I don't know. For me, it just shows a lot about what I want to portray as a model.
Yeah.
She can be out in New York and across the seas and whatever. Like, she won America's Next Top Model.
Yeah. But
like,
she's sitting in Jacksonville.
She's sitting in
coffee shop.
Jacksonville, and she approached me.
Right.
Like, a lot. I don't know. I just want to be approachable. Obviously, safely.
Sure.
But
because that can be creepy.
Yeah, that could be creepy. Yeah, I guess like the amount of like publicity you get, people have weird things and weird sessions. But yeah, just seeing her do that, and and her constantly reaching out to me too.
Yeah,
she's constantly reaching out to me like, hey, like do you know any photographers for this? Or she would just reach out and say, hey, like, hope you're doing well. And it's just a beautiful friendship. And
that's awesome.
That's how I want to be. Like, I want to be that model where where I'm looking at you face to face and I'm not like hovering over you.
You want to be a role model.
I want to be a role model. That's what a model is. A model is a role model at the end of the day. You're inspirational for something that you do.
Right.
Whether it's dressing good or having a good personality or being bold or being confident or being funny, you're inspirational for something. And I want to be inspirational for being genuine, authentic, and real.
I think that confidence thing is a lot of
it's key.
What I think a lot of younger people that look up to people like yourself and other models, I think that would be one of the things that if they had to take anything from them, I would say that the confidence that they portray is definitely something.
You gotta have confidence, guys. Like, trust me. And
it's
this
just
is coming,
in life as well.
Yeah, and this is coming from someone that had zero confidence. And sometimes I do lack confidence. There's sometimes where I do want to go back in that turtle shell, but then I see the lack of work presented from that, and I'm like, I've gotten this far. I can't start going back to those old ways and lacking away. Like, if if the opportunity comes to you, you have to operate well. Like when I was at that Disney shoot and
Right.
that scene, like I would have been so
Careful.
upset if yeah, I would have been, NDA, I would have been so upset if, I didn't do that scene well, even though we had to shoot it 3 times.
Yeah.
I got it. I listened to what the production, and it was a lot of production. There was like at least 30 people around me.
Wow.
And again, and that third time I was like, you know what? I got to do it. Like, I can't waste people's time. I don't want
Right.
my time wasted. And then I did it, and they're like,
Was it like a
set, good,
commercial?
we got it. Oh, it was a commercial, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Cool.
yeah, so, and that second time I was starting to lose confidence. I'm like, this is a lot. And then that third time I'm like, you know what, I have to do it. Like, this
You reach
is
deep
what
down.
I had to dig really deep. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is why I'm here. And I did it, and they were like, set, we got it. I'm like, oh,
Thank God. I don't want to do it again.
yeah, because in that heat too, that 96-degree heat too, I'm like, I don't want to do it again.
Were y'all outside?
Yeah, for like 12 hours. Yeah, our call time was 4:30 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon.
That's a long day.
Yeah, but it was such a blessing. I told all my friends as much as I could tell, but I told them I kind of feel like a celebrity. Like they were, putting fans on me. They were wiping the sweat from my forehead, touching up my makeup, buffet for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like, it was such a great experience.
No, I only want the green M&Ms.
Yeah.
I want a bowl with green M&Ms.
Like, you asked for something and you got it. And
Yeah.
it was just an amazing experiance. So
How did you get that gig? Does your agency
My
provide
agent.
you with that?
yeah, so
Okay.
Agnes is amazing. She sends my headshots out. My headshots out a couple times a week. And if a party is interested in working with you, you'll get a call back. She'll let you know, and if you can confirm it, if you can do it, you'll confirm it. If not, you'll decline it. So it's just really nice. Yeah, she leaves. She puts the ball in your court. She said, hey, you got another call back. If you can do it, do the audition. If not, then decline.
Yeah.
And I haven't declined one yet. I've always done the auditions. Yeah.
So this is your first agency that you've worked with,
Mhm.
right?
And first
First
major
and only.
commercial with Disney. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've always, I have 2 daughters, and I used to think that I would want to put them into some kind of modeling career, or if they wanted to, I would, they're both beautiful girls. He's married to one of them.
Yes. Beautiful family.
He's handsome too. But I've always heard horror stories. Have you heard the horror stories
I've
of
heard
these
horror
agencies?
stories about agencies, yeah, about the contracts and certain things they require.
And just
from the
basically
person.
robbing you.
They're robbing you, yeah, and I pray if when that happens to me, because it will, that I'm able to just stand my ground and not lose kind of myself to it, like not
You think
be
it'll
okay
happen?
with that. I think so.
Somebody's going to try you.
Someone's gonna try it. Yeah, there's always gonna be someone to try. Especially with me being like soft spoken, queer or whatever. Like they'll try it, and they'll expect me not to, know the contract and know things, and I'll just simply say no to it.
Yeah,
You don't have to do it. There's nothing signed. I don't have to do it.
right.
You know.
I imagine that being with a good agency keeps you out of the crap work.
Yeah.
Not to say that like it, what I'm talking about.
I absolutely know what you're talking about.
There's some garbage work out there. I refer to them as GWCs, guys with cameras.
Yeah.
They're not photographers. They just go out, grab a camera, and now they just want to take
Yeah,
pictures.
the con artists.
Yes, exactly.
Con artists. Yeah.
Are you able to do like TFP, or do you even bother with that anymore? Trade for pics, like similar to what you do at Collab.
Yeah. Yes, with the right photographers, but
Right.
Since modeling is going to be my profession, I am going to gear up a contract,
Right.
Because it is not one of my jobs. Now that Disney signed me, I was talking to my agent. I was like, hey, like when should I start charging to be shot? And she's like, well, book a commercial first, and then you can start booking.
Right.
So now that I've booked with main production Disney, and that's finished, I definitely will start gearing up a contract just to protect myself and just to let everyone know, like, I'm very professional. I feel like when you have
Yeah.
that contract, you have things in place and, a portfolio built already, like they're more confident in working with you.
Yeah.
Because they know the type of work that they're going to get and the type of content that they can produce, and, the overall quality of the work is going to be top notch.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be like a extreme amount, but it is a job of mine. Like when I
Sure.
go on set, I'm not playing around.
Right.
I'm giving you what you want, and I'm hoping that you can use the content to better yourself and promote what you want, but it's still a job.
Yeah, it probably keeps like I said, a lot of the. Is if you had to give advice to a new model, I mean, that would probably be it, right? Contracts, get an agency, protect yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Bring someone with you. I always like when Josie came for the podcast. I told her, bring someone with you. Bring a friend. I'm a strange man. You've only met me one time, for like 5 minutes, and I didn't talk.
Yeah.
I was like, because she ambushed me.
Yeah.
I tell her that. I made her feel very I apologize for that. You shouldn't feel conscious about being aggressive. She's fairly aggressive. But yeah, but I always tell that to anybody that I'm going to shoot with. What other advice would you give to either newer models or people that are possibly working with new models, photographers that are working with new models?
Yeah, I would say definitely be reasonable, but you have to be confident always when it comes to even like submitting a contract or things like that, because people will try to lowball you.
Right.
You have to know what you're worth. You have to know the amount of hours and labor you put behind into becoming a model. And, that's not necessarily something you have to share on your contract, but there's something that you've done. And you just have to be, because being a model is a business. It's your business. It's your portrait. Like, this is what brand. They're getting. They're not getting anything else. When you send them that contract, it's you behind that contract.
Right.
So if you're not confident in answering questions and submitting a contract, then don't submit it because you're not ready for it. I would say it takes a level of confidence and work ethic to be able to be like, hey, this is this, I'm charging this because you're going to get this behind it and that behind it, and be confident in that.
Yeah.
And make sure you can keep up to your promises. Like, I'm not going to promise my photographer something I'm not able to do. I'm not going to promise you free tickets to an ESPN game if you shoot me. I don't have that connection yet.
Not yet.
Even if I did, it wouldn't be something I would use for a trade. But just you have to know where you're at when you create a contract for yourself, because it's ultimately you. It's your business.
Very, very wise words. I'm going to switch gears, and I'm going to use a question that Chris actually put out on his story today.
Nice.
And I answered I answered it, and I said the Cliffs of Dover in the UK. And like he said, what's your dream location to shoot on? Do you have like a specific place in the world that you would just absolutely love to shoot on?
Yeah, I have so many reels saved on my Instagram from Italy. I definitely want to go to Italy and London. I know the fashion there is remarkable. And I actually, one of my outfits, I tried to actually portray that. Someone was like, oh my God, you're giving like Paris, London vibes. Like, what are you doing here?
It worked.
I know. I was literally going to like a Publix. I was picking up some grapes, and they were like, you don't belong here. I'm like,
you
wait.
go hard when you just go down to the store for one thing.
Yeah. I did regret it though. My whole back was like a sweaty whatever, but it was worth it. I did meet a couple people in there too, but yeah, that would be my place. Anywhere in London, anywhere in Italy.
Nice.
Just because the fashion there is just it's so on demand, and I just love everything about it.
It does seem like there's a look. It feels like everything should be shot in black and white in Paris, in Italy.
Yeah, and I love B&W photography too. Yeah, it's like one of my favorites to shoot. Shout out to Linda too. She shot that beautiful portrait of me, B&W, and it's absolutely amazing. It's one of my favorite photos.
Did you have a question over there, Patty, or something? Okay, I thought you were queuing up. He does this like lean in where he's like,
I love how you guys have it like your silent cues. Like.
How are we looking on time?
We're at an hour and 10 minutes.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Just flew by, right?
Yeah, just kind of flew.
Excuse me. If you guys have any questions more for Kameren, please ask them now, and my guy he'll ask them for us. In the meantime, we're just going to keep on chatting.
There we go.
So what do you got coming up real soon? Like, what's coming up right now for you?
Yeah, so I actually just did an audition for Coach in New York City.
Really?
Yeah, I got a call back to be a part of a commercial with Coach, as far as I can go with it. But a commercial with Coach.
Another
so
NDA?
I did, and I did my audition video for it, and I will get a call back by the next week.
Are they gonna fly you out? Maybe
They are. They're gonna fly me out.
See, I'll just say things and you just nod.
It's another place I haven't got a chance to visit, but I would love to visit there because I know the fashion there and the agency there is very top tier as well.
Right.
So I'm hoping, I'm hoping that that goes through and I get to experience New York City and to work with a major brand such as Coach. I think that'd be very amazing for my portfolio.
Yeah.
Something I can use as an addition to what I already have. And
For sure. That's
Yeah,
gonna
it
level
would-
up your portfolio.
yeah, I would definitely. But the Disney definitely did. But for Coach,
Absolutely.
Coach is just gonna take me. It's gonna open up a lot of doors. So I'm excited for that. And then as far as anything else, let's see. Coach, and then I think Coach is like the biggest priority right
Yeah.
now. I've had a couple of like smaller callbacks. But I think
What are you doing
Coach
to
is,
get prepared for that coach shoot?
Gosh, yeah, that's a very good
Nothing?
question. Literally
Just hang out with your
nothing.
plants.
Just hang out with my plants and just like speak positive vibes, and like, if it's meant for me to have it, Agnes will give me that call,
Yeah.
call back date, and she like, you got the commercial with Coach, and I'll just scream. Literally, when I got the call back for Disney, we were screaming for like 30 seconds on the phone.
Yeah.
She screamed first, and I screamed. I was like, ah, and then she's like, ah, and then we just like were screaming back and forth for like 30 seconds. She's like, okay, I gotta give you details. I'm like, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah. Wait till my ear stops bleeding.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, that will send me over the moon. And it'll give me more experience too.
For sure.
Being in New York City is a big city.
Of course.
So it's already
the biggest city.
yeah, it's already that's already nerve wracking in my stomach. I was already like, oh my God, I'm gonna get lost. I'm gonna get to the audition, but no, it's a big city full of big opportunities, and I just feel like shooting there, it will be a great kind of breakthrough for me.
Yeah.
So,
Well, if you've never been to a huge city like that, everything moves a lot faster.
yeah. And do the movies kind of like portray it well, or
I don't know. I've never
No.
been.
Oh, you never.
I've been.
Okay.
That's where I got my. That's where I'm pulling my my knowledge from.
Yeah.
I mean, like I've been to Chicago, and
Same.
if New York is the same as Chicago, which you can't really say that because like people in New York will get pissed off if you say that, and that you compare Chicago.
Yeah,
to
they have
New-
a way about
They're like rivals. My pizza's better. No, my pizza's better.
Chicago does have good pizza.
That's what I'm saying.
What's that? There's a spot that starts with.
deep dish pizza.
Is it
So good.
Maggiano's? Not Maggiano's. It's
Is it the Mama place? There's a couple of
There's
places.
a couple. There's one that starts with a D and there's one that starts with an M. I can't think of it right now.
Yeah.
But they have the deep dish pizza in Chicago. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In Chicago. Oh geez.
I thought it started with an M. I thought it did start with an M. It's right there on the water too.
There was 4 of them,
Mm-hmm.
and they were all on.
It's not
north,
Maggiano's, but it's
northwest, and
close
south.
to that. It's
There's Giordano's.
Giordano's.
There's another one I can't remember.
yeah,
but the other one-
Giordano's another one. Yeah.
The other one is the deep dish pizza.
Mhm,
The
it's really good.
Giordano's is like the real thin crust.
Mhm.
But yeah, every time we would go,
No, it's thick,
I
and
would
the
have-
cheese is thick too. You pull it up. And
yeah, and the sauce is on
strings.
top of the cheese.
Mhm,
What's that
mhm.
all about? It works though. It's super good. It's
Yeah.
like eating a steak.
It's amazing.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Mhm.
yeah, just I'm sure you'll be fine. But yeah, living here
so
in
too.
Florida and especially in Jacksonville,
Mhm.
everything's a little slower.
Yeah, it's definitely up. It's definitely everyone I speak to. They always say like Jacksonville, Florida is very much like up and coming from where it used to be at.
You think so?
Yeah, I know they have plans. My Uber driver, I don't know how he knew, but I guess they have plans downtown to like rebuild the studio.
Man, they've been talking
stadium
about
or
rebuilding that
like
area down
putting
there
like a
for
little mall
years.
right there or something. I don't know.
Ever since they they just got rid of the landing,
Yes.
and now they want to put a mall there. What?
Yeah, I just I don't know. When
What
I
are you
first
thinking?
I know. When I first got to Jacksonville and I like saw downtown, I was like, that kind of was disappointing. I'm like, I'm used to like having like a mall downtown.
Yeah,
Starbucks and like some Nike shops, and it was like nothing. It was
it'll
like
be another town center.
You think so? The
Probably.
downtown?
You've got the one on South Side now.
Mhm.
Oakleaf has their own town center.
That's true. Yeah.
I want to say there's something out here, isn't there? Like out in Orange Park somewhere.
There is.
Fleming
There's
Island or
yeah.
something.
Yeah, I mean, Fleming Island's turning into a hub. Lake Asbury out here is turning into a big neighborhood. They just built 23 that goes from 10 to Blanding, and then
Wow.
it's going to go from 10 all the way down to St. Augustine.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Straight shot. So yeah, big.
That seems to be
yeah.
the new. That seems to be the new like thing though. Like the
Yeah, they're
town
bringing
centers. They call it a town center. It's a strip mall.
It's a strip mall. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
definitely a
just-
strip mall.
yeah, we brand
It's a
it.
strip mall.
saying.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to downplay it, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's a strip mall.
I'm not a big fan of shopping though, so I'm not.
I don't know.
We know you love shopping.
I do. Well, I love thrifting.
Of course.
But I do love. I don't know. I do like shopping.
Yeah.
I think it's. I feel like every time I
Therapeutic.
shop, I'm always thinking of like a concept. Like, oh, that would look good if I did a photo shoot like next to the water. Or that would be cool
Yeah.
if I did a photo shoot. I'm always thinking like that. It's like it's always something's running through always a concept running through my brain. But I do love shopping.
Yeah.
You never know who you're gonna run into while you're
That's
shopping.
true.
Either. I always think of those times like as opportunities. Like, oh, I don't know who I'm gonna run into while I'm shopping, but I'm gonna just enjoy myself and my coffee.
And you stand out, so people are going to see you.
Yeah. Sometimes it's kind of like awkward because I'm like, oh, I wasn't ready to be approached, but hi, how are you?
Right. And that's always the way. Do you ever like reach out to photographers that you've seen you follow them on Instagram or what have you, and say, hey, I want to work with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Let's do something.
Oh God, I forgot his name, but his concepts were like something I've never done before. It was like his models looked like artist palettes, like they were like covered in like color, and they had like these long kind of like sheets on, and just the concept was beautiful. Forgot his name. I think it's Lewis or Lois. I'm not sure, but I just messaged him. I'm not sure if he messaged me, but I haven't checked my phone. But I just messaged him and like, hey, like I really want to work with you. Like,
I want those in my portfolio.
yeah, like your concepts is great, and I feel like I can really portray whatever message or whatever concept that you're trying to relay to your audience. I feel like I can really do a good job at that. I always go with that, because yes, I want to use it for myself, but I want them to be able to use it too. As
Well,
I want their
sure.
concept. I want their vision to come to life. That's my number one goal when I work with a photographer. I want their vision to come to life. Like I'm
Right.
not gonna leave or I'm not gonna finish shooting unless they got their shot.
And that's the whole idea behind the TFP, the Trade for Pics, is
Yeah.
especially with newer models and
Mhm.
newer photographers. That's why going to Collab is such a great place, because you meet all the new people, the people that are just getting started in the field on both sides of the coin,
Yeah.
and you can set shoots up with each other right there, and the photographer gets good portfolio shots,
Yeah.
and the model gets good portfolio
Oh
shots.
God, beautiful. Yeah.
Have you
Mhm.
gotten a lot of your stuff like that?
Oh my
Like a lot of your
gosh.
portfolio?
Oh my God, yeah, I have photos from like at least 2 months that I haven't even posted yet. I'm like stacked up on like photos, which I absolutely love. But yeah, I'm actually working on building a website for myself, and then I'm working
Nice.
on building. I have a physical portfolio, but there's pictures in there that I want to kind of like flip around. So I have to rebuild that one. But yes, I'm working on building a website, and then I want to have a physical portfolio as well. I can show people.
Yeah, it's
like-
always nice to have that like tactile book.
I know everything is electronic, but I think for me, like I kind of want to see like that textbook,
Yeah.
kind of like that physical.
Well, it seems more intimate, like to me.
Yeah, to see
instead of
yourself
going-
printed
instead
on
of saying,
paper. Follow my Instagram.
Here, look at my phone. Look
Yeah,
at my phone.
exactly.
And like, this is my Instagram. And just hand somebody your phone or an iPad. Even, I mean, iPad seems a little bit more professional, but
Yeah.
handing someone a book and you
Like,
can
oh,
just say,
wow.
"Here you go," and walk away. You don't have to worry about them. Oh, it locked up on me. You
Yeah.
don't have to worry about that
You
stuff.
don't have to know. Like it's there. It's printed. Like that's the type of images
Right.
you're gonna get if you work with me. So yeah, I'm definitely working on that. And I think that's just important. Like as old school as it may sound, I just feel like it kind of already sets you apart from like thrusting somewhere on your phone. Like, oh yeah, just follow my Instagram. It's my like no, like here's my portfolio. Like it's documented,
Right.
like it's there.
And you really don't know what that photo is going to actually look like until it's printed.
There you go.
I didn't start printing my stuff until like a couple of years ago. And when you leave here, I don't know if you noticed when you walked in, probably not. You were paying attention to my little Yorkie, but you can take him with you, by the way, for free. I can't guarantee how long he'll be around, but yeah, there's photos that I printed of mine. And I don't design. I'm not a designer. I'm not a home. So I was gonna give them out or sell them, even, but I just said screw it. Nobody wants to buy them. Nobody wants to take them for free. So I just hung them in my living room.
There you go.
But,
Yeah.
But it really does, and then you can kind of say, okay, I really screwed the pooch on this photo, and then you go back to your settings, and it for a photographer, it helps me go, okay, I need to change this and this, or man, that looks good. It looks so much better printed.
Yeah.
The physical copy. I think it's a great thing to have the book. I think you should have a book.
Me too.
I think you should have multiple books.
Me too. And a photo is timeless too. Like anything can happen to your phone, or any file can corrupt. But once you have it printed, like it's, I don't know, it just gives you that reassurance.
That
like,
hard file.
That hard copy is just amazing. So
For sure.
yeah, like I said, I have one that has 10 photos in it. I don't know why I asked for 10 book one. They gave me a 20 book one, so there's 10 photos that don't have anything on them. It's just like black and white. So I'll have to go back and kind of work with them.
Who do you go through?
So I just went through CVS because they have a photo book.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, the images were okay. I mean, you can tell like the quality was shot a little bit, but it was still kind of, it was still crisp. Like it was clear, but I can tell like, oh, it's a little different from my phone.
Yeah.
But I think to show it to someone, they wouldn't see it. I think just for me being a photographer, I'm like,
Yeah.
Like I know I shot in a raw image, but I think too, one of the photos, like I think when they were printing it, they moved the ink off too fast, so there's like a small little smear on it. But it just gives me like, that little bit of history that I always.
Yeah, it's a little quirk.
Yeah, a little quirk. Like, oh god, like they were probably rushing with my photo book, and there's a little smear.
Yeah. Like who I use, I've always used them. Well, not always, but for a long time, I've used them for my weddings and anything anything I shoot like that. I use Printique by Adorama.
Oh, okay.
Not a sponsor. That's just who I've been using for a long time. But they literally, it's a photo. That's all they do.
Okay.
That's all they print. They make prints.
Maybe I'll have to get that from you. So
Absolutely.
The next time I do it, because I have like I said, I have a lot of photos from all these amazing photographers.
Right.
I definitely want to, make sure their work is appreciated, and
Right.
so I definitely want to get that printed and documented, and have a hard copy of that for sure.
I think the photographer should be putting together your photo books and handing them to you after a shoot. I think they should print the books, hand it to you.
Yeah.
Get one for themselves. Get one for you. I mean, that's when I start shooting more models and what have you. That's my plan. Is to do that.
And that can even be like a service too.
Sure.
Like, hey, like you can, if you want your digital copies, you can. If you want a photo book, I can do that for you for an extra charge.
Yeah,
like,
digital copies I give away. Anyways, I put it on a Dropbox and send you the link.
It, yeah.
Done,
I love doing it. Yeah.
But yeah, so are we at the that 1.5 hour mark?
Yeah, we're at 1:22. Nicole chimed back in. She said, Giordano's.
Yeah,
And
it's
then,
The pizza place.
And then she said Lou Malnati's
Who?
Lou Malnati.
for the
I've
photographer
heard of
maybe
that
that you reached out to. Lou?
Geno's. That's what it was. Geno's.
Gino.
East.
Oh, Gino's.
That's
Yeah.
that's the. I don't even know if they're around anymore.
And she said my Midwest blood is coming out.
Yes, Midwest. Yeah. Lou. Yes. You're actually right. Yeah, it was Lou. Yeah. How did you know?
Yeah, she said
She
Lou
just be knowing.
Malnati's.
Yeah, Malinatos, I think, or Malinatis.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, his work is I just like the concept of his work. Is very like contrasted, moody. It's very artistic, and I like doing fun concepts like that.
Yeah.
Like I like showing my versatility and like what I can portray, like whether it's like masculine or like feminine. I like to be able to do both, which is really awesome too. Yeah, and I actually like, and this may be like, this may be crazy, but because I know I am feminine, but I actually like doing like more masculine shoots.
Yeah.
Like I did a shoot with Tie Dye RX, their clothing company, and that was like a lot more masculine. I shot with like 3 other female models, and we got all up close and personal, and I didn't mind it. Like I'm like, this is awesome. Like I want to portray, and I think that's important too. Like it's work, and I think that's important too. Like as a model, like portray all your flavors.
Right.
They don't want to work with a static model where you only can do one thing. Like, you want to be able to be versatile in what you can do. Like can you do streetwear? Can you do studio? Can you do beach? Can you do like wherever you go? Like can you take a picture?
Yeah.
I think that's what makes a great model is being versatile in like what you can shoot in. So I'm happy that I'm able to again portray masculinity and femininity, and there's sometimes a mix of both, which is awesome.
That is great. Cameron, I can't thank you enough for driving. Well, sorry, being driven all the way out here to Orange Park. I literally, when you pulled up, I was like, that's not Cameron in the front seat.
Yeah, the Uber driver was like, who is he pointing to? I'm like, he doesn't know I'm in Uber.
Right. I was like, did this joker come up here with a driver? He's got a driver? Big time. Okay, big time.
Yeah, that's my assistant. No, I'm kidding. Not there yet.
He's sitting outside. Thank you so much for coming on.
course, thank
And
you for
I'm
having
looking
me.
forward to seeing you again at the next collab event. And maybe I'll
Yes.
actually be able to sit down and get some shots with you.
Yes.
And thank you guys for chiming in and joining us in the
Yes,
live
thank you,
and
thank
watching on the replays and all that good stuff. Don't forget the audio version, the audio only version. You can find it on almost any podcast provider. You can anything that you use, whatever it is, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is, it goes out across all of them. So check out the links that are in my bio here. And also, I did want to mention I'm going to be moving this YouTube channel to another channel. So currently we're on my photography channel doing these live streams. I've started one specifically for this podcast, and I'm going to migrate all these videos, all the interview videos and what have you, anything that I've put out for Archetype Aperture, the podcast, going to put it out on that channel. But that's coming in the future, and I'll alert
So
everyone when
exciting.
that happens. But it's just, I'm trying to. I talked to Josie about rebranding.
You're expanding.
And
yeah.
I didn't want to, when I got down to it, I had a name picked out, I had a theme picked out, and I just said, you know what? I like what I got. I just need to put it into a separate category, a separate place.
Absolutely.
So that's what I've done. But go check out the Archetype Aperture Instagram page. Go check out Kameren. Is it Kameren Lott?
There you go.
Okay. And it's Kameren. Okay. It's
Yes.
Kameren,
You
right?
got it. Yeah.
Lott. And also Cam behind the cam.
Yeah, that's like my little toned down version. And more like, instead of me posting like my modeling pics, I'm posting more like behind the scenes and like more like realistic
Huh?
and like phone photography, not studio professional photography.
Yeah. I mean, you should have a little bit of an outlet for yourself for that. And I think that's a great side to yourself that I think people will be interested in seeing.
Absolutely.
But again, once again, thank you so much for you guys
Yes.
showing up, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you. Let's see who we got next week before Patrick plays that outro music.
Can't wait to tune in.
Let's see.
Too late.
Now I want you to help me with this because I'm going to say your name wrong. Jamaris, is it?
Yes. That's
that-
Joe.
is-
Just Joe. I
Okay.
call her Joe, but
Joe.
yeah, Jamaris.
Can I just call her Joe?
Yeah.
But I want to say her full name, but I can't. I don't.
You said it right,
Payan?
Jamaris.
Is it Payan?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, she's amazing. I actually did a photo shoot with her too. She is amazing.
Yeah, I'm into butchering names. That's what I do here. So again, thank you,
Thank you
and
for
thank
having
you,
me. Yes,
and
thank you.
thank you, sir.
Yes.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.